The White House releasing nearly 3,000 classified files related to former President John F. Kennedy's assassination, but keeping some sensitive records under wraps, at least for right now.
Yeah, President Trump saying he had, quote, no choice but to accept those redactions rather than allow potentially irreversible harm to our nation's security.
What did we learn? That's the big question, and there's a lot of documents to go through. Joining us now, former chairman of a House Select Committee that investigated the assassination, Dr. Michael Baden. Thanks for joining us this morning. 18,000 documents that are left of the 87,000 to be released at this point over the course, hopefully, of the next 6 months. That's what we're being told anyway, as the investigation of those documents continues. But the question is, of the ones that were released, what do you think was the most important information in there?
Well, I think so far it's going to take a while to digest what's been released, but there's been no smoking gun. And I think that part of the problem with releasing part of the material is that it creates more reason for conspiracy theorists to say that the real evidence is still being retained and we have to wait for more of the release before making any conclusions. But right now, nothing's been released that affects certainly the part that I was involved in, that Oswald fired 3 shots, 2 hit the president from behind and caused his death, and there were no other shooters.
And you were close to this case. I mean, you worked on this, and you don't buy into these conspiracy theories. You say it was Lee Harvey Oswald. He just wanted to kill the president, and then Ruby wanted to kill him, and that's it. But let me ask you, what's in those files? Why is it after 40, 50 years we can't see them?
Well, I think part of the reason from where I have been involved is that a lot of mistakes were made in the protection of the president, in releasing the route he was going to take, because that's the only way Oswald found out about the fact that he was going to come by his building, and that there's a lot of embarrassing information for the CIA, for the FBI, more so than evidence that's going to show that there was anything unexpected in how the president was killed.
Because the president says that it's a national security thing that they had to redact those files. I'm wondering what could be in that that's 50 years old.
That's the question at this point.
Well, there can be some people who are still alive after 55 years that'll be embarrassed by it, but it doesn't sound like there's much that will affect our immediate security. That's what the president is looking at right now before he says he'll release the rest of it within 6 months.
So one of the things when I was looking through some information this morning, it's hard to, you can't go through everything in a matter of a couple hours, but FBI Director then, anyway, Edward Hoover, there's a memo in there from November 24th, 1963, saying hours after Jack Ruby was shot Oswald, excuse me, the FBI sent an agent to the hospital to try and get a confession out of Oswald before he died. And this is a quote, that Hoover's urgent desire to have, quote, something issued so that we can convince the public that Oswald is the real assassin. To me, when I read that we have to convince the public, that kind of sets a red flag, in my opinion.
Convince is a weird word.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that's raised the conspiracy theories, is that there was an immediate desire not to find anybody except Oswald who did it, because the Russian government, the Cuban government, the mafia, the United States government offices were all possible contributors to the assassination. So there was a push and to make it seem just like Oswald, but of course this raises questions that you overlook certain information. I think all the information thus far available shows that Oswald did it by himself. It was by happenstance because the president entourage came through Dallas, but that there were lots of mistakes made by J. Edgar Hoover, who tried to paper over the fact that his Dallas office may have made mistakes in not following Oswald, especially after they knew he was there.
And you're saying embarrassing moments for the CIA, but don't believe the conspiracy theories, and we just wait to see if it'll all be released at some point. Dr. Michael Baden, thank you so much.
Yes.
All right.
Got it.
Okay.